Hello, senior one. How are you? Today we are going to discuss the other session in our biology lesson. Okay, the last time we have talked about the carbohydrates and its importance and its structure, and we know how to detect the simple carbohydrates and the starch, okay, which is complex carbohydrates. Okay, today we are going to talk about the lipids. Lipids are also a biological macromolecules which are composed of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. Okay, they are divided into simple lipids, complex lipids, and derivative lipids. Okay, so lipids are biological macromolecules that formed of smaller units called fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, okay. They are divided into three types, either simple lipids as fats, wax, and oil, or complex lipids as phospholipids, or derivative lipids as steroids. Lipids dissolve in non-polar solvents, such as carbon tetrachloride and benzene, but they do not dissolve in polar solvents such as water. Okay, we can detect the lipids by a reagent called Sodin 4 reagent, where lipids can dissolve in it, changing its color into red. Okay, the molecular structure of the lipids or the monomer of the lipids formed of three fatty acids bound to glycerol molecule. Three fatty acids, zigzag دولت, three fatty acids, carbon and hydrogen, and a glycerol molecule. The glycerol molecule has OH in its structure is an alcohol having three hydroxyl group. Okay, this is the monomer of the lipids. This is the structure of the monomer of the lipids. Okay, what are the importance of the lipids? Lipids are a source of energy, another source of energy, where the carbohydrates was the fastest source of energy. Here, the lipid the is another source of energy where the energy released from lipids is more than that released from carbohydrates. Energy released from lipids more than that released of carbohydrates. When we eat 3 grams of rice and we eat 3 grams of fats, which one will have more energy released? Of course, the 3 grams of fat. Okay, so the energy presence in the fastest is in the rice. Yani I will get my energy fastest from the rice, while I will get the more energy from the fats. Okay, so the human body begins releasing energy from lipids when it runs out of carbohydrates. Okay, that's why we get fat. Okay, because when we eat many fats and they will be precipitated inside our body until all the carbohydrates finish and runs out, then we will our body start to take the lipids and uh, hydrolyze the main components of cell membrane. Also, lipids is a main component of the cell membrane, where which one of the lipids is the phospholipids. They make up about 5% of the organic compounds forming living cells. So the lipids take part in the cell membranes formation, and they are organic compounds forming living cells. Some animals store lipids under their skin to protect them from low temperature. Example, polar bears, penguins, and seals. They work as a protective layer in some plants and animals. They can protect them from losing water, as in desert plants and in some animals. Some of the lipids, steroids, work as hormones. Okay, classification of lipids. Lipids, either simple lipids, where they are formed from the reaction of fatty acids with alcohol. They are classified according to their saturation of the fatty acids into oils, fats, and wax. Saturation, what's the meaning of saturation of the fatty acid? A fatty acid has a double bond. When it is saturated, this double bond will break into a single bond. Okay, so and then become saturated. Okay, so simple lipids, they are classified into three types: oils, fats, and wax. Oils, اللي هم the triglycerides, are the liquid lipids formed from the reaction of unsaturated fatty acid with glycerin. Some birds' feathers are covered with oils. Why? To protect them from water which disable them their movement and their flying. Okay, يعني when you ask yourself why the birds will not fall when the rain falls on their feather, إيه اللي هيحصل لهم؟ The oily particles present above their feather will remove or will slip the water molecules away from them. Okay, the other part of the other kind of simple lipid is fats, the glycerides. Fats are solids. Fats are solids lipids formed from the reaction of saturated fatty acid with glycerin. Okay, while wax, they are formed from the reaction of fatty acids with heavy molecular weights with monohydroxyl group. Okay, alcohols having one hydroxyl group only. The difference in هم high molecular weight and only one hydroxyl. Wax covered the leaves of plants, especially desert plants, to decrease the amount of water they lose by transpiration process. Okay, this is the simplest for the simple lipid structure. Triglycerides, three fatty acids, and the glycerol. When it becomes this double bond, when it breaks, it becomes saturated. Okay, so complex lipids. The second type of lipids is complex lipids. They are formed from oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, sulfur, and phosphorus. The phospholipids, example of the complex lipids, are lipids occurs in the membrane of plants and animals. Structure of this phospholipids, they are fats, but phosphate group the same like fats, but phosphate group and the choline group replace the third fatty acid. Choline group N group يعني nitrogen has يبقى الphospholipid has phosphate and has nitrogen also. Okay, this is the structure of the phospholipid. Okay, and this is the structure of the membrane, our membrane. Here phospholipids looks like has head and tails, balloons كده. Okay, head and tails that forms the cell membrane. Okay, while the other type of lipid is derivative lipids. They are lipids which are derived from complex and simple lipids by hydrolysis process. Example, cholesterol, hormones, and steroids. They are formed of complex and simple, both of them. Hydrolysis يعني adding water. Dehydration يعني removing water. Okay, زي مين؟ Example مين؟ cholesterol, which is present inside our body. Cholesterol, okay, and they are main source in the present inside the eggs, and the hormones, okay, that we use inside our body, and the steroids. Okay, let's test ourselves. Dots from the cell wall forms the cell wall of plant cells. Which one forms the cell wall? Cellulose or starch, galactose or glucose? Of course, the cellulose. All the following results from hydrolysis of simple and complex lipids except simple and complex lipids. يبقى I need a cholesterol, testosterone hormone, phospholipids, estrogen hormone. Simple and complex يعني derivative lipids. صح? So cholesterol is a derivative. Testosterone hormone is a hormone, so it is a derivative. Phospholipids is not a derivative. Okay, so this is the one. Estrogen hormone is a hormone, so there's a derivative. Okay, this is the structure of the phospholipids. Looks like balloons كده with tails. Balloons, heads and tails, heads and tails. The heads are polar heads, hydrophilic, love water, can enter the water, where tails are non-polar hydrophobic. They do not love water, do not permit the water to pass. Okay, okay. Thank you.